Hi, Union Symphony family. It's Deanna Tham again, music director of the Union Symphony, and I'm here today with David Strassberg, concertmaster of the Union Symphony, and Kate Middel, who is our principal violist of the Union Symphony. And we're here to talk about one of the concerts that's coming up in our virtual series this season with our Union Symphony String Quartet. And it is a really exciting program. Like, I was so excited to program this with you all, and I'm really excited to hear it because the music is amazing and it's so different but so relatable. I'm so excited for it. This concert is unique because we kind of go into all of classical music, both ends of the spectrum here, from Bach all the way to things like Amy Beach and Piazzolla, and just really show how all of that ties together and how Bach's music was so universal and is still being used and is still so relevant in any music that you hear today. And it's just really evocative, really expressive music. And like we mentioned, Amy Beach is on this program with an amazing string quartet. I mean, that should be performed more often and still is rapidly becoming part of the string quartet canon, which is wonderful. And I mean, how is that for you, Kate? Like, what is your favorite part about that piece?
All of it. Because the first time I heard it, I absolutely fell in love. Couldn't understand why it wasn't played more often. It is an intense work, but because of its length, it's an entire quartet in one movement. So it's only 13 or 14 minutes or so, but you get to have this really complete set of ideas developed within all of that. And you can hear the way she takes, I mentioned the indigenous Inuit melodies that she takes those from, but then she develops them with her Western classical music training, using harmonic language that we're used to hearing. And you can hear a lot of that with the Bach. It's set up in kind of an arching form. So there's a slow section at the beginning that comes back at the end that's very, very chromatic. And at first it seems very strange, but with the way that we did our programming, you hear similar lines in the Bach canon that we played as a duo, and you can kind of see exactly how she starts to combine her training plus the music that she was around, kind of just out and about in the world. And I think it's just fantastic when you get to kind of hear who a person is in their music. And I think we think of classical music as this thing that happens in the dark on a pedestal far away by faceless people dressed in black, and we kind of lose the personhood of the person who wrote it, of the people who play it. And I think when you can find those connections, it becomes something really special.
That's so great. And you mentioned, I mean, you know, that she took these Inuit melodies and developed them, and you guys played a perfect example of that from way like 300 years before this was written, in the Bach Art of Fugue, which is literally one segment of melody that he wrote, and then takes that theme and writes 14 different contrapuncti from it, right, in all of these different variations, augmentations, diminutions, inversions. Wow. And you guys compare that to the way that Beach develops these Inuit melodies, and you can see all these similarities. And you know, people think of, might be a little bit intimidated by like a composer they don't know, especially one that's a little bit more, you know, closer to our time period. But if you listen to especially this canon that you guys perform in duet from the Bach, there are some really evocative chromatic harmonies in there, and really modern sounding harmonies that people are still emulating, and that's just so cool.
It is. The Bach, especially that canon, it's like a little time machine, but you never know where it's going to take you, because it could literally take you absolutely anywhere.
Because Bach could do that. He can take you anywhere. I mean, he was a genius. There's no one like him. But,
right.
And then David, you guys performed Debussy as well, taking Bach in that
Uh,
direction.
right. Gosh. Wow. So many colors. I mean, I've always wanted to perform the Debussy Quartet. And I mean, actually, that in that third movement, that slow movement, is probably one of my favorite pieces in all chamber music repertoire. And you know, both my parents are artists, so always being around art. But I mean, I just see all these colors and just what they say. Debussy, his music very ephemeral. Just really enjoying the moment, and gives us a whole range of colors on each instrument. You know, in string quartet, it's a unified whole, but it's so amazing how each voice is important and contributes to it. But gosh, I mean, I think yeah, with there's a spot in the Debussy where I think Kate takes it, and then Oksana takes it, and then this kind of like this undercurrent of me and Amanda, the second violinist, have, and there's this amazing crescendo, and you know, we all arrive together at these moments, and gosh, I mean, composers, I mean, they really are true artists.
I mean, I like that you mentioned all of the different voices of the string quartet. I mean, who better than Debussy to bring those colors out? He was the master of colors. You said your parents
Sure.
were artists. Like, you know, I think they call it, it's an actual condition. They call it, I think it's synesthesia, where people, they actually see colors when they hear sounds, or they mix their senses,
Absolutely.
right? And a
Yeah.
lot of us don't have that. It's very rare. But with Debussy, you get close. You get
Yeah, right.
close
Yeah.
to seeing
Yes.
actual things, you know, when you hear those sounds. And I'm so glad that you guys did Debussy with Bach, especially the Bach Art of Fugue, where his voice writing is so important. He you know, has so many different voices that contradict with each other and are used and are so individual in different ways. And Debussy just takes a different take on the string quartet in that way, and making each voice an individual in a different way, in its colors and its timbres. So that's just such an awesome comparison, and such a great inspiration that Debussy took from Bach. And so you guys performed Mozart as well, right? As part of the Dissonance Quartet.
Yeah, and that piece, wow, what a landmark piece that is. I mean, it's kind of totally off the beaten path, what you would expect from Mozart in the beginning, and then it flourishes into something that you would expect more with Mozart, you know. But yeah, such an incredible melodist, and it, you know, so deceptive. I mean, it sounds like it's, you know, just from heaven. You know, I had a teacher once. He said that his teacher described Mozart as a vineyard on a volcano. I mean, you see this beautiful vineyard. Oh, but at any moment, wow, it could explode, and you know, disaster could strike. So you know, so it's like, it has to be like, you know, perfectly cultivated, and all of these things, and then it kind of, that's where the but yet it sounds so natural, and so that's the huge challenge, I think, with Mozart too. It sounds so simple, but yet it's very profound.
Yeah.